The 49ers have some unique players in the running back room. You add in an undrafted free agent that everyone's excited about. You add a fourth round pick that can run 4.3 at 228 pounds. And then you have a holdover like Jordan Mason that everyone seems to like. And it makes for an interesting training camp battle. Could someone make this team that you don't expect? Could someone get traded out of one of these guys? It could be interesting. We're going to talk about all that in this training camp battle and more. 49ers Cutback next.
From the alley-oops at Kezar to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback podcast time. Welcome to the show, everyone. Ready to talk about running backs. And who would have thought? Here we are talking about a position the 49ers have some real competition at. And it was just a couple years ago that the 49ers had a undrafted free agent running back that every single person really liked in Jordan Mason. In fact, a lot of people thought Jordan Mason was going to be the next beast mode. A lot of people really like the attitude he runs with, his running style, his size, his physicality. There's a lot to like. And now you've got a similar situation coming up. The 49ers are bringing in a guy like Cody Schrader, who's been around a little bit. He played very well in the SEC, had over 1,600 yards rushing, and he's starting to get the same sort of build from the 49ers fan base, from some of the people that like to talk 49ers. It's been interesting. And Cody Schrader's a good football player. But the 49ers didn't just add Cody Schrader, they also added another young pup in Isaac Guerendo. And they traded 2 fifth-round picks. A fifth round, they've been extremely good at drafting players that help their football team to get Isaac Guerendo. 228 pounds and runs a 4.3 40. Not much tread has been lost from his tires. This guy definitely has a lot of ability. It's just where does he fit? And there's already been the questions over the last 2 years about Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason. Because when Jordan Mason came on the scene, he had to fill in for injured Elijah Mitchell. And since Elijah Mitchell came to the 49ers in that 2021 draft, he has been injured off and on. Whether that was his rookie season, he only played 11 games, though he was the starter in place of Raheem Mostert because Mostert was hurt. And then you flash forward to the next year, and he's injured. And of course, you got Jeff Wilson Jr. handling most of the carries until the 49ers trade for Christian McCaffrey. Then Elijah Mitchell came back, and those two look like a 1-2 tandem that was really fantastic. But Mitchell's inability to stay healthy and stay on the field has got people talking year in and year out about somebody else taking over that role. And Jordan Mason is normally the guy. Jordan Mason's normally the guy that everyone talks about being running back too. A lot even to question Kyle Shanahan as far as why don't you like Jordan Mason? Bobby Turner, why is Jordan Mason not playing? And I think the simplest of answers about why Jordan Mason isn't playing compared to Elijah Mitchell when Elijah Mitchell's healthy has to do a lot with other things besides just running the football. But maybe he's not as good pass catcher. He has improved mightily and has done a very good job. And maybe he's not as good as a pass protector, which we know is 100% accurate. We just haven't seen it consistently. But because of these guys, and we got to also mention Patrick Taylor, who the 49ers brought in, a veteran running back who's got a lot of size too, 6'2", 217 pounds. They brought over from the Green Bay Packers. So they added running backs to this mix. And Kyle Shanahan has made sure that what happened to him a couple years ago, where he ran out of running backs, never happens again. So he continually brings in guys that can come and compete. And every year there's the undrafted free agents that everyone likes. Last year there were guys as well, and they didn't last very long. It's tough to make this 49ers roster. I want to talk about some of the competitions that are going to happen because I think they're happening at every single level of the running back room. So it's going to be interesting. But make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. If you're listening on audio platform, 40 yards cutback on Believe, just give it a 5-star rating. If you're going to bet with Bet Online. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit. You bet on anything from the Olympics to baseball to Formula One racing. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet Online, the game starts here. So we're talking about these running backs, and we're talking about some pretty significant players for this 49ers roster. Now, there's no competition for who's running back one. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, and Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in the entire league. And building behind him is what's important. So a lot of times what you have to do first is look at who the starter is. And I know a lot of times we like to look at contrasting running styles and then be able to have different guys with different skill sets. But if you don't want your offense to change very much when you're calling it as a play caller, you want guys who have similar skill sets. You want guys that can handle the overall task you're asking your starter. Now, they might not do it to that level, but you want them capable of doing that. Now, when you get to the more of the bottom end of the running back room, they can have some different skill sets that maybe you use for different looks and different sets, including short yardage or goal line situations. Maybe you don't have a McCaffrey, you have a big running back, so you need a third down back. Those types of things are normal. But having a guy that can step in and do some of the things that Christian McCaffrey does is important. You can find someone that can run really well with the football, can run outside zone, can run inside zone, can run gap scheme the way Christian McCaffrey can. Of course, not to his level, but he can. Then you've got a guy who has a skill set that can handle the running portion of the 49ers offense. Then can that guy catch the ball in the backfield? Can he catch a swing pass? Can he catch a check down? Can he line up in the slot and run a route? Can he catch a screen? If he can do that, he's got pretty good hands, then he could fit that aspect. Finding a guy that can go line up in the slot and win consistently like Christian McCaffrey is not easy to do. But if they can at least threaten a little bit, then you can potentially still run those plays. You don't run or lose your playbook that you want to run. We see this often with Deebo Samuel. The 49ers have to deviate from their overall game plan because they don't have another guy that's like that. So you want to have a similar body, a similar person. And that's why Elijah Mitchell has been significant for the 49ers as far as that's why Kyle Shanahan doesn't want to move on from him. And I've heard all the calls for Elijah Mitchell to be traded. And, he is on the last year of his contract. And if you want to get something back, you might want to try now. But what exactly is he going to garner on the open market? And are you going to get enough back? Are you going to get a 7th round pick, for Elijah Mitchell? To me, that's not enough for the production that he could give you during the season. Let's say he only played 11 games like his rookie year, but is available for the playoffs the way he was his rookie year. That is more valuable to the 49ers as a backup for Christian McCaffrey than it would be for a 7th round draft pick. Elijah Mitchell has a lot of talent, but he can run this offense. He can run the plays that they need him to run. He can run up the middle. He can run outside zone. He can run the toss plays. He can go in motion and block. He can line up in the slot and catch the football. He can't do it to Christian McCaffrey's level because the truth is no one can. But he can do it at a high level. And you know what? Kyle Shanahan absolutely trusts Elijah Mitchell. And it's never more clear than you go to the Detroit Lions NFC Championship game. The 49ers are up 3. They get down to the 2-yard line because of a great run by Christian McCaffrey. But when he goes down, he kind of lands on his head. He has to come off the field. And the 49ers put in a cold Elijah Mitchell. And he runs for a 2-yard touchdown. You know what Elijah Mitchell doesn't do? Turn over the football. And that's something that's huge for Kyle Shanahan. So the 49ers know they've got a capable backup in Elijah Mitchell. And if you're a Jordan Mason truther and you love Jordan Mason, I get it. You want Jordan Mason in those roles. But I think Elijah Mitchell right now has proven to do more than Jordan Mason. And it's not that Mason's a bad runner. In fact, I think he's a good runner. I like him. I think he's improved a ton since he came out as a rookie. I think his vision has been so much better. His running style, he's gotten better pass blocking. He's got better catching the ball in the backfield. But it doesn't escape the view that Elijah Mitchell is the better backup for Christian McCaffrey. You were going to get a guy that could do the things McCaffrey did. Elijah Mitchell would be one of those guys. He's an angry runner. He runs physical. He's able to block. The confidence level that Kyle Shanahan has in him means that he should be running back too. And Jordan Mason, of course, is going to be battling Elijah Mitchell. And Elijah Mitchell's biggest weakness is his availability to be on the field and practicing, whether that's at training camp where he misses practices every single year, or that's during the season where he gets nicked up, too many knee injuries along the way. That is what gives Jordan Mason the ability to compete with Elijah Mitchell. But is it a competition when they're actually on the field? I don't think it is. I think they're a little bit different in the ways that they would be used within this offense. Elijah Mitchell more similar to Christian McCaffrey. I think that both of them run hard. So short yardage runner, Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey can handle that. Jordan Mason can handle that. Jordan Mason can handle a lot of things when it comes to the run game. I think when it comes to the passing game is where you look at him and you wonder what he could do and whether he could catch the ball consistently and make plays in the passing game. And we've seen him do it from time to time. And now he's going to have some competition. I think this is where we're going to actually feel the competition for Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason is going to be a restricted free agent after this year. And I don't think that means the 49ers want to move on from him. But you've got the young players that are going to be right there nipping on his heels. And you've got Isaac Guerendo, who we know, just listening to what Bobby Turner had to say about him, he's very high on Isaac Guerendo. They like the speed-size combination. What was one of the things they liked about Elijah Mitchell when he came out was the speed and size combination, because he was 220 pounds, but he could run a 4.3 40. Isaac Guerendo, over 200 pounds, and can run over 220 pounds, can run a 4.3 40. Similarities in that way, similarities in build. There's differences in running style right now. Elijah Mitchell in his rookie year learned very quickly from Coach Bobby Turner about getting vertical quickly. That means getting your foot in the ground, going upfield, and getting as much yards as possible as soon as possible. One of the major deficits for young running backs, especially coming from college, is they want to bounce things out. They want to stretch the play out further before they go ahead and explode vertical. One thing that Elijah Mitchell figured out right away is if the hole open, get vertical and get positive yards. That's something that guys like Trey Sermon never figured out. Trey Sermon never figured out the 49ers scheme and how to run within it. That's why he never had success. So how quickly is Isaac Guerendo going to figure that out? Jordan Mason, Elijah Mitchell, they haven't figured out. Jordan Mason does it pretty well. In fact, Jordan Mason runs well on the inside. He's even able to take it outside. I haven't seen him run too many toss plays, but when he does it, he's had success. He can run anything the 49ers want to run when it comes to running the football. The passing game is his weakness. But Isaac Guerendo, we don't know exactly what we get from him when it comes to vision, when it comes to burst up the field, getting vertical. There's a difference between being fast and then also having fast eyes and being football fast, recognizing what you're supposed to see and get vertical. That's the difference between getting tackled for a loss because you took something horizontal and getting up the field and making a play. So Guerendo, we just don't know. We know he's got the skill set. We know he's got the size, the speed. We know that the coaches like him. But does he have the overall vision? Does he have the overall understanding of the scheme? I think it's going to be a tough learning experience for him. Now, if he picks it up like Elijah Mitchell, maybe this will become a real competition between him and Jordan Mason. Because the truth is, they want Isaac Guerendo on this football team. He's the future of the position, even if it's just to be a backup to Christian McCaffrey. Because what is one of the things that Isaac Guerendo does well? Catch the football out of the backfield. Talked about having a guy that has similar characteristics. Even though he is bigger and faster than Christian McCaffrey, his ability to catch the ball in the backfield gives you an opportunity to use him in that way. And that's important in Kyle Shanahan's scheme. In fact, that's been important in the West Coast offense for a long time. It revolutionized the game when Bill Walsh got Roger Craig and Tom Rathman and players like Ricky Waters under George Seifert involved in the run game and the pass game. So it's inevitable that a running back has to catch the football. Guerrero being a wide receiver in high school means he's got overall skills and techniques to do it. But the running is where it has to change. The running is where you have to figure it out if he can handle it. And I think that's one thing he's going to have to prove at training camp when we get out there, that he's got the vision to do so. And it's going to be tough. The lines, the angles, it's a lot. Christian McCaffrey even talked about when he first came here that it was an adjustment from the overall attention to detail that the 49ers offense and 49ers running backs and linemen have and coaches to how you have to run this scheme. There's not as much freedom. It's very disciplined. You go to a certain level, you go a certain line, you cut at a certain place. All those things are so important for this 49ers offense to work directly. Because what does Kyle Shanahan like to do? He likes to tie the 49ers run game to the passing game. Well, that means things have to look the same. Whether you're running the football or you're play action passing, it has to look the same. So running backs have to make sure they look the same. They get the same lines. That's going to create the same depth, the same perception for the defense. So it's very important. Young players are going to have to learn that. Then you look at Cody Schrader, and we know that he's going to have the vision. Cody Schrader had tremendous vision in college. He played at a high level. He's got good balance and contact balance. He looks good running the football. What he lacks is speed. Where Guerrero has the elite speed, Schrader doesn't have elite speed. 4.6, it's fast enough to get positive yards, but it means when you get to the third level, you're getting ran down. So explosive runs for Cody Schrader are going to be more in the 20-yard range, where Isaac Guerrero, it could be 80-yard range. Those are the difference between those two guys. Schrader's going to have an advantage in the amount of carries that he's had. He saw a lot of football. He's been able to have a lot of success in the SEC, which means he's seen very stiff competition and had success against that stiff competition. So there's differences between the two guys. You got the guy that's more raw and more talented versus the guy that's more experienced and less talented when it comes to physical characteristics. But where I think that Schrader could really excel is the fact I think like Elijah Mitchell figured out when to get vertical, when to press things, when to cut, all those types of things. I think Schrader's going to do well in those categories. So that's going to give an opportunity to come and press this 49ers running back room. And where does it get interesting for the 49ers when it comes to running back is when Cody Schrader potentially pushes to make this team. Because if Schrader's having a really good training camp and a really good preseason, and the 49ers go to make a cut, what do they ultimately decide to do? We know they're not going to cut Isaac Guerrero, a 4th-round pick that they traded 2/5 to go up and get with elite speed. That would be very unique for them to go ahead and say, you know what? We know you're a rookie, but we're going to go ahead and cut you right now. I just don't think that's happening. So the likelihood is that a veteran player would have to be moved. And we know that when it comes to Patrick Taylor, he's probably not going to make this team minus an injury. And of course, Cody Schrader, that could be his ticket to make this roster as well. You get an injury to Elijah Mitchell, he ends up on the IR, or you get a player like Jordan Mason who has something come up. And then, you all of a sudden, Isaac Guerrero and Cody Schrader make this roster. But then you have 2 young guys at the back of your roster. That makes it interesting, right? But you could probably get Patrick Taylor to your practice squad and use him that way. But where it gets interesting is if Guerrero and Schrader both look good. If they both look good, then do the 49ers need to make a decision? And I brought up earlier, the 49ers have potentially, fans have discussed that they would trade Elijah Mitchell. And I've heard now that maybe they would trade Jordan Mason. And of course, these are fan theories. These are people talking because they see a crowded running back room. But I think there is a case where if you had an opportunity for Guerrero and for Schrader to make this team and they were both playing so well, you would have to look at Jordan Mason potentially being traded. You have quality control. You could trade him to another team and they would have control over him for a couple of years. So that could make a lot of sense. Now, here's where it gets difficult, though. When you're a back-end roster guy, you have to be able to help on special teams. And we know that Jordan Mason helps significantly on special teams. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not one of the main kick returners for the 49ers early on in this season. We've heard it before. special teams coordinators are going to running back types because of the close proximity of the kickoff team to you. And so fielding the football and then running through tight holes is what running backs do. So Isaac Guerendo, Cody Schrader, Jordan Mason, Elijah Mitchell are going to have opportunities to do that. But I think for Jordan Mason, it's not just kick return. He also could help on punt team. He can also help on kickoff team because you now need big physical guys, more running back, big running back, tight end, linebacker types on the defensive side of the football to be able to go make the tackle and be able to fill gaps and not get pushed back. It's going to be important. So there could be an avenue there for Jordan Mason to have even more opportunity to potentially make the football team. So this is one of those position battles that's very interesting for the San Francisco 49ers. You could go status quo. You know, you got McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, Jordan Mason. You drafted Isaac Guerendo, and you can say, you know what, those are our guys. Guerendo's going to be inactive most days, and if there's an injury, we'll think about it. Patrick Taylor will put you on the practice squad. Cody Schrader will try to get you to the practice squad. But there's also a scenario in which Cody Schrader plays too good. And if that happens, the 49ers have to make a decision. Of course, you know, with some of the new rules, you could definitely potentially park a player on your IR and bring him back later. The 49ers could definitely do that because there's no way Isaac Guerendo's not on the 49ers 2024 roster. They're just not going to give up on him after 1 year. So it comes down to a competition, and this is where it gets interesting, between Cody Schrader and Jordan Mason. Two undrafted free agents that 49er fans absolutely love. And Mason has the advantage of being within the system, playing very significant special teams, running really well, getting better in pass protection. And I think that's what helps him overall in this battle. Because Cody Schrader is going to have to earn the confidence of Kyle Shanahan. And I'm not saying that Jordan Mason has overall earned that confidence, but Jordan Mason has gotten better, significantly better every single year. There's a confidence that he can handle certain roles. If Cody Schrader could come in and show that he can handle protection, then all bets are off. But I think Jordan Mason's just farther along. I think the likelihood is in these battles, even though you would think it would be rookie versus rookie, it's actually Jordan Mason versus Cody Schrader. Former undrafted versus current undrafted. How quickly will Cody Schrader get the attention of the 49ers? There's not going to be a huge speed difference. These guys are pretty much close to the same speed. There is a size difference. Jordan Mason's significantly bigger than Cody Schrader. So it's going to be a battle. And I'm curious to see it. I want to get out there at training camp and see it. But really, I want to see in the preseason. I want to see how these guys carry. I don't expect McCaffrey to get much carries, if any, during preseason. I don't think Elijah Mitchell is going to get that much work during preseason as either. I think Jordan Mason, Patrick Taylor, Cody Schrader, and Isaac Guerendo are going to be the ones who carry the load at the running back position. And we'll see who is developing and who's translating to the game. And if something happens, the 49ers haven't been afraid to trade off a player with depth. But Schrader would have to prove it. Because I don't think the 49ers want to run a risk if they have something happen to Christian McCaffrey this season. And this is where I think Jordan Mason becomes more concrete. If something, heaven forbid, happened to Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell was already hurt, you could be talking about a running back being a rookie as the backup. And that's what they don't want to have happen. So let's say Elijah Mitchell got hurt and McCaffrey had to step out for half a game the way that he did last year at Cleveland. Well, that means if you don't have Jordan Mason, Isaac Guerendo, Cody Schrader are getting first-team reps, you can't allow that to happen. And I know we want rookies to step in and make plays, but that's not what you want, not with a championship caliber team. So I think the likelihood is the 49ers running back room stays status quo, unless Cody Schrader is just that good. But I think it's going to be Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, Jordan Mason, Isaac Guerendo. And I think they're going to try to get Cody Schrader to the practice squad. And we'll see. Maybe they'll park him on IR. They'll try to figure something out. But I think it's going to be a huge battle in training camp at the running back position. I appreciate you guys all joining me. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know who you think is going to win this battle. And do you think Cody Schrader can overtake the other guys ahead of him and get on this team? And if he does, who's out? Is it Garendo? Is it Jordan Mason? Is it Elijah Mitchell? Do you think Elijah Mitchell should be traded? I'm curious what you have to say. Let me know in the comment section down below. I really appreciate everyone watching. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online. The game starts here. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, stay safe. Remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.